stuff here, if you could check your mobile and see that it's in silent mode, that would help us. Shall we just jump in? For this, actually, I could use a book. Thank you, sir.
Is the font okay or bigger one? Shall I pick the bigger one or is it okay?
Well, I don't have to read so much, so we'll struggle through it. Thank you all very much for coming, and tonight we're reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, 335. Those who have devices that tune into them, you can tune to them. In fact, even I could do that. I'll get better type. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, this is good. And no picture taking. It's distracting. And you might want to move up also, because other people may come in. And we have room for it here. Get your okay. Shreyam Sudharmo Viguna Paradharmat Svanushthitat Swadharme Nityanam Shreya Paradharmo Vayavaha Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna Paradharmat Svanushthitat Swadharme Nityanam Shreya Paradharmo Bhayavaha Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna Paradharmat Svanushthitat Swadharme Nityanam Shreya Paradharmo Bhayavaha Someone else?
Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha
Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna
Paradharmat Svanushtita
Paradharmat Svanushthitat
Swadharme Nidhanam Shreya
Swadharme Nityanam Shreya
Paradharmo Bhayavaha
Paradharmo Bhayavaha
Shreyan Swadharma Viguna
Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna
Paradharmat Svanushtita
Paradharmat Svanushtita
Swadharme Nidhanam Shreya
Swadharme Nityanam Shreya
Paradharmo
Paradharmo bhayavaha.
Ladies.
Shreyan swadharmo viguna.
Shreyan swadharmo viguna.
Paradharmat svanushtita.
Paradharmat svanushtita.
Swadharme nidhanam shreya.
Swadharme nidhanam shreya.
Paradharmo bhayavaha.
Paradharmo bhayavaha.
Shreyan savadharmo viguna.
Shreyan swadharmo viguna.
Paradharmat svanushtita.
Paradharmat svanushtita.
Swadharme nidhanam shreya.
Swadharme nidhanam shreya.
Paradharmo bhayavaha.
Paradharmo bhayavaha.
Shreyan, far better.
Far better.
Swadharmaha,
Swadharmaha.
one's prescribed duties.
One's prescribed duties.
Vigunaha,
Vigunaha.
even faulty.
Even faulty.
Padadharmat,
Paradharma.
then duties mentioned for others.
Then duties mentioned for others.
Suanushthitat,
Swanishita.
perfectly done.
Perfectly done.
Swadharme,
Swadharme.
in one's prescribed duties.
In one's prescribed duties.
Nidhanam,
Nidhanam.
destruction.
Destruction.
Shreyaha,
Shreyaha.
better.
Better.
Padadharmaha,
Paradharmaha.
duties prescribed for others.
Duties prescribed for others.
Bhayavaha,
Bhayavaha.
dangerous.
Dangerous.
It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than another's duties perfectly. Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duties, for to follow another's path is dangerous. Purport: one should therefore discharge his prescribed duties in full Krishna consciousness, rather than those prescribed for others. Materially, prescribed duties are duties enjoined according to one's psychophysical condition, under the spell of the modes of material nature. Spiritual duties are as ordered by the spiritual master for the transcendental service of Krishna. But whether material or spiritual, one should stick to his prescribed duties, even up to death, rather than imitate another's prescribed duties. Duties on the spiritual platform and duties on the material platform may be different, but the principle of following the authorized direction is always good for the performer. When one is under the spell of the modes of material nature, one should follow the prescribed rules for his particular situation and should not imitate others. For example, a Brahmin who is in the mode of goodness is non-violent, whereas a Kshatriya who is in the mode of passion is allowed to be violent. As such, for a Kshatriya, it is better to be vanquished following the rules of violence than to imitate a Brahmin who follows the principles of non-violence. Everyone has to cleanse his heart by a gradual process, not abruptly. However, when one transcends the modes of material nature and is fully situated in Krishna consciousness, he can perform anything and everything under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. In that complete stage of Krishna consciousness, the Kshatriya may act as a Brahmin, or a Brahmin may act as a Kshatriya. In the transcendental stage, the distinctions of the material world do not apply. For example, Vishwamitra was originally a Kshatriya, but later on he acted as a Brahmana. Whereas Parshuram was a Brahmin, but later on he acted as a Kshatriya. Being transcendently situated, they could do so. But as long as one is on a material platform, he must perform his duties according to the modes of material nature. At the same time, he must have a full sense of Krishna consciousness. Om Jnana Timirantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Vena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Koda Mahyam Tadhati Shabbadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Shahagana Raghunathan Vitam Stam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Shahagana Lodita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabham Sute Devi Pranamami Ori Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyayevacha Vidyanam Bhavaneyo Vaisnayo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shreyan Svatarmo Viguna Paradharmat Svanushtitat Svatarme Nityanam Shreya Paradharmo Payava. This teaching is important in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna several times mentions this same point. In the 18th chapter again it comes. Several places. Swadharma. Everyone has his own duty to perform. That's Swadharma. Swadharma means according to ashram and varna. There are 4 varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and 4 ashramas, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So, in a cloth, you get the vertical and horizontal threads, and they make the cloth. So our prescribed duty is formed by the intersection of our varna and ashram. Someone's a Brahman Grihastha, someone's a Kshatriya Grihastha, someone's something else. Sannyasi Brahman. So, according to our position, someone's a brahmachari, Kshatriya. So, according to the position in varna and ashram, there are some duties to perform. Prabhupada calls these prescribed duties. It's not whimsical that we just go through life doing whatever we feel like. The Shastra prescribes different duties. Human life means dutiful life. different duties prescribed for different people in different situations. And we should know what our duty is from the direction of the Shastra. The Shastra prescribes how a Kshatriya should act, how a Brahmin should act, how a Vaishya should act. What is my duty? For Arjuna, his duty was fighting. That was clear. That was his swadharma. He's a Kshatriya, and therefore he should act as a Kshatriya. And Krishna is throughout Bhagavad Gita encouraging Arjuna, you should fight. That's the duty of a Kshatriya. Some people sometimes interpret Bhagavad Gita to be a book of non-violence. Nothing could be further from the spirit of Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna all along is telling Arjuna, Yudhyashva, you should fight. Where's the non-violence? But non-violence is appropriate for the Brahmins. We wouldn't want a non-violent policeman or a violent priest. The priest should be peaceful, non-violent, and the policeman should be ready to use violence to protect the citizens. Similarly, a Vaishya, he should be enthusiastic about business. But we don't expect the Brahmin to be counting his profit. How much do I make on this sacrifice? So everyone has some prescribed duty. Shreyam, Swadharma, Viguna. And every duty is covered by some fault. In Bhagavad Gita it said that is, what is that? That's everyone's duty is covered by some fault. Everyone's duty is covered by some fault. And if you're cooking, then there's going to be smoke. That's a problem, but we don't say, well, cooking's too much trouble because all this smoke gets generated. If we're doing business, there's going to be a little bit of untruth. When my mother visited India, I think she was in Jaipur or someplace, and she went to see a jewelry store late in the morning. And the proprietor was showing her different things and telling her, oh, for you it's only this much because you're my first customer in the morning. So that's not exactly a rabbinical statement. But for a Vaishya, that's part of his duty. You're getting a special deal. For you, we're not even making a profit. And that's for the Vaishya. So sometimes the Vaishya has to tell some lie. Sometimes the Kshatriya has to be punish even a family member. Sometimes a Brahmin has to perform sacrifices on behalf of an unworthy person. Sometimes a Shudra has to serve a master who's not so good. But if we switch to some other occupation, the other occupation will have its faults too. So we should stick to our own duty. Even if I may be able to do someone else's duty very well, if it's not my duty, I should leave it alone. The sergeant might be able to make a better decision about the conduct of the war than the general. But it's the general's duty to call the shots. If the sergeant starts thinking, well, I could do this better, so many things that are not our duty. Sometimes when we take on someone else's duty, we're just meddling. We're meddling in their affairs. Or we get blamed because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. We're not doing what we're supposed to do. So, Krishna says clearly, even though one may perform one's own duty with some mistakes, better to do that than to do someone else's duty very nicely. Svanushtita. Better than, yes. Better to die following our own duty. Swadharma Nidhanam, to be destroyed performing our own duty, than to take on someone else's duty. And Srila Prabhupada explains that prescribed duties, as we've discussed, are according to Varnashram, which suits our psychophysical nature. It means the mind and body. Everyone's gotten a particular body from material nature. And according to the body we've gotten, there's a particular kind of duty that suits us. Yes, come in. In, out. Come in if you
Please
will.
come in.
Come in. We'll make space for you, don't worry. Yeah, I'll make space for her because we promised.
It's already space.
My dear young men, can you move over this way? Give the ladies more space. Yeah, everyone can shift over. There you go. Then you get a spot right there. And we're skipping the photography, right?
Kapil Prabhu, Prabhuji.
Photography in the shade, hey? Thank you. Okay, in Krishna Kripa, let's make a little space for him too. I told you we need space. Looks like we're going to lose a lot of money on this lecture.
कहाँ लेके जा रहे हो?
We'll bring it back. So, according to the body we received, there's some particular duty according to Varnashram. Or on the spiritual platform, whatever the spiritual master tells us to do. Not that, no, I'm a Brahmin, I can't do this. No, I'm a Kshatriya, I can't do this. Whatever the spiritual master, because finally on the spiritual platform, everyone is servant of Krishna, and everyone is meant to do whatever Krishna wants, or whatever will best serve Krishna. I remember I had one god brother. He was staying in Vrindavan, and Prabhupada was directing him how to do things to help get the temple, start construction for the temple. And he didn't want to do it, and eventually he went off and did something else. And finally he left altogether. And he said that Prabhupada should have known that I was more suited to reading and, bhajan this kind of work. So that was his nonsense. The spiritual master directs you to do this, you do this. You don't say, no, I'm more suited to that. Also, in my analysis, is that Prabhupada most likely saw that this person is going to flake out, reading so many books and hanging out with so many Babajis and pretending to be spiritually advanced. So Prabhupada gave him some practical engagement to save him from that nonsense. But he thought, no, I'm more suitable for other things. So that's an offense in spiritual life, Guru Abhagya, to disregard the orders of the bona fide spiritual master. One should make the orders of the spiritual master one's life and soul. Whether he tells me to sweep and clean the toilet or to worship the deity, whatever instruction he gives me, I should take as my prescribed duty. And to do otherwise is dangerous. All right, let's stop here and see what kind of questions or comments there might be. Yeah. Do we have a second microphone or no? Okay, just loud. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for the wonderful class. One question, I'm feeling a bit confused. How do we get a class? Is it by birth? Is it defined based on in which family we are born?
How do we get a particular class, a particular varna? Is it by birth? Is it a particular family? It is in part by birth. I'm not going to be a heavyweight wrestler because I didn't get that kind of body. But it's not exclusively by birth. And that's stated explicitly by Narmuni to Yudhishthira Maharaj. It says, if you see that someone's born in one class, but he has the qualities of another class, he belongs to that other class. And I probably gave the example that there was, because Krishna says, guna karma vibhagavasya, according to one's qualities and one's practical activities. Prabhupada saw in Calcutta someplace that there was some man who was pulling a tela on a cart and wearing a brother's thread. And his friends were, hey, Panditji, such and such. And what's the meaning of that? He's doing the work of a Shudra, and he's Panditji. Panditji means a Brahmin. No. No. According to our qualities and according to our work. That story is there. Who was that? Muni, Gautama or somebody?
Jabali Muni.
Javali Muni. The boy came and wanted to be his student. So he was asked, are you a Brahmin? He said, well, I don't know. Well, what was your father? Well, I don't know. What occupation he had? And then you come back and ask your mother. So he went back and asked his mother. His mother said, I don't know who your father was. So he came back and told the sage, my mother doesn't know who my father was. The sage said, yes, you're a Brahmin. Brahmin means truthful. Who is eager to say that my mother doesn't know who my father was? But he honestly said, so the sage accepted him, yes, you're a Brahmin. According to the qualities.
Thank you, Maharaj.
The family heritage may give a natural path. In Vrindavan, I was seeing that there was some flower seller outside the temple, and he's flicking water on the roses and putting the older roses underneath, and all that kind of stuff. And I saw his little son is doing the same. He's looking like he's been there doing it for 30 years, flicking water. So it's natural. He gets the training. So he may also become a flower seller. But he doesn't have to be. If he develops other qualities, he can be something else. The son of the High Court judge can become a good lawyer, a good judge, but he might become something else. So qualities and the work.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a list of questions, but would you like to?
You told that Krishna says you make your duty with, and you can make faults, it's okay, but don't make others' duties. And I don't want to get that thought that when I make my
You have to be a little louder.
yeah.
In fact, a lot louder.
You told that it's better to do my duties with faults than other duties.
Mm.
And the feeling that I had is I wanted to push away the thought that Krishna says you can't make faults in your duties. So I don't want to go into that state of laziness. That's why how can I make my duty with the most in the most sincere way, and don't fix on you can make faults, it's okay.
Yeah, Krishna's not giving Arjuna out that you can, you can sort of, you don't have to fight all that hard. Just be there on the battlefield. And no, it's expected that if you're going to be on the battlefield, you're going to fight, and you're going to fight to win. Not that you'll go there and say, well, I'm here, I'm doing my duty, good enough. I checked in, So it's not for laziness, but just do your duty, and if it's faulty, we try to do it very nicely. But try to do your duty nicely, not somebody else's duty nicely. That's the point. Is that okay? Yes. Or behind you. Okay, yes.
Just one small question. You mentioned that I should follow the orders of my spiritual master, but I don't have any access to my Guru Maharaj. So
He didn't give you any orders? Your spiritual master didn't give you any instruction?
not directly, because I never got a chance to speak to him personally. But how do I understand what I understand?
So how do we understand what the spiritual master wants if we have no personal access? Then he has some system. Either he's writing books and saying, do this, do this, do this, do this, or he has some system of authorities to follow him, follow him, follow him. Or it's, follow the temple president, follow him. Something will be there. Right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, so question solved. As you said, it was little.
Maharaj, when we are saying that there are these 4 varnas and 4 ashramas, and we are intertwined, and our duty is a prescribed duty, we see that these are under the influence of mode of passion, ignorance, and goodness, based on, because they are saying also the quality is guna. But are we not kind of moving from one guna to, one mode of material nature to the other, and is it also that our dharma is keep on changing, because in a day I'm not always in the mode of goodness?
In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says that these modes of nature are mixing. Just for a second. So 1410. Rajas tamas cha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata. Rajas sattvam tamas chaiva tamasattamavastata. Krishna says sometimes goodness prevails and passion and ignorance are subordinate. Sometimes ignorance comes up, passion and goodness are down. Sometimes passion is up, goodness and ignorance are down. So these qualities mix like colors. And yes, sometimes we're more passionate, sometimes we're more placid. But there's a prevailing set of qualities. The Brahmins are supposed to be in goodness, Kshatriyas, passion. The Vaishyas, passion and ignorance, some mixture. And the Shudras, predominantly ignorance. These qualities will be there. It's not that someone's a judge, but he sometimes has other qualities. So sometimes he should be plowing the field as an occupation, or doing construction work. He's a judge, but he may sometimes be more have a more passionate mood, or more. He may not get enough sleep or be a little lazy sometimes, but he's a judge. The policeman, sometimes he's, in a sort of easygoing mood, and sometimes he's in a tough mood, but he's not going to be a divinity student.
But then are we not saying that he is not doing his duty properly because of these influences of nature?
No.
Because if the judge is not judging properly,
No, he has to control. If he's falling asleep over the legal arguments, he has to pinch himself, or make sure his clerk is on top of listening carefully. Somehow he has to make sure he makes a fair judgment. We all have that. We may have some prescribed duty, and therefore Krishna says better do your own duty, even if you do it with faults. That's a fault that sometimes I'm a judge, and sometimes I'm not listening to the arguments. I'm thinking about my golf game. It's a fault. But still I have to do that work and not say, well, I'm not really a good judge. I should be breaking stones. We should try to do our duty very nicely, and we should know this is my work. Not that you start floating around. Well, this afternoon I feel more like a cowboy. You should stick with a particular duty. And things, among other things, society runs well. If I wake up in the morning, I don't know whether I'm supposed to be doing intellectual work, or doing construction work, or doing business. I'll be very confused. Or if I'm doing work which is not suited for me, I'm not going to be happy, and I'm not going to be very good at it. A person who's by nature, I have one devotee I know, he's just thoroughly Brahminical. He tried to do a business. Oh, it was such a failure. It just wasn't his nature. And there's one other devotee, he was a brahmachari, and he got married, then he started a business. Right away, it became $1 million business. Marwari guy. Starts a business, business is practically, comes natural to him. So no use for him trying to pretend to be a scholar. He's a natural businessman. So be a businessman in Krishna consciousness. That's the main thing. There will be some fault in every duty, and the adjusting factor is Krishna consciousness. If we're Krishna conscious, that takes care of all the discrepancies. And if we're not Krishna conscious, then it's all useless anyway. Dharma svanustita pumsam visvaksena katasuya nopadiye didiratim shrame vigela. I may do my duty very nicely, but if I don't develop an eagerness to hear about Krishna, I'm just wasting my time. Krishna conscious. I may be a very good husband, I may be a very good whatever, worker. But my life is a failure. Without Krishna consciousness, my life will be a failure, however nicely I do my work. Mm-hmm.
Amara, just a follow on that. I mean,
You ask that.
yeah. I mean, in Hare Krishna movement, we try best to get into the mode of goodness. We try to acquire Brahminical qualities, but it doesn't mean that we try to change our original varna. Or do we?
Yeah, Krishna consciousness means we're acting according to the spiritual master's direction. So we're ready to do whatever the spiritual master asks. And from one point of view, that means we're transcendental to varnashram. At the same time, we have these material bodies, and there has to be some kind of work, there has to be some kind of social system. So this varnashram will help us. It's not Krishna consciousness, but it supports Krishna consciousness.
Maharaj,
Yes.
sorry if I can ask further on this point that you're explaining, because just 3 weeks back in the same room, I and another devotee were discussing the same verse about what is really our dharma. And if we are Krishna conscious, it is clear that our dharma is to be servant and serve spiritual master Krishna. But if we are still taking responsibility of family or at work,
Still that's our dharma, but go ahead.
and then this changing from one varna or from one thing to the other, when it happens, how to also practice Krishna consciousness? As you were giving the example, someone
One thing
moved
to
from,
another.
from brahmachari became grihastha.
Oh, that's another thing, brahmachari grihastha. Now it's not occupation, but it's ashram.
Okay.
Brahmacharya ashram means no other engagement, but to be engaged in following the spiritual master's orders. Householder life means, or spiritual cultivation, brahmacharya life. Grihastha life means we have so many other duties. We have to make money, we have wife and children to keep happy, education, so many things. So that will be time consuming. And then typically we hear, I have so little time to study, I can hardly chant my rounds. These burdens come in family life. Then there's vanaprastha life. We start to free ourselves from those burdens. Then sannyas, complete detachment. So for spiritual life, the brahmacharya ashram is very nice. We don't have any other weight that we have to carry. But if we're in the grihastha ashram, then let me serve the spiritual master and Krishna in that ashram. Not try to imitate the brahmacharis. To try to live like a brahmachari when I have a wife and children is foolish, dangerous. And for the brahmachari to live like a householder, that's also dangerous. Everyone should perform his own duty.
And when we take shelter and get initiated into, can we give up all the responsibilities of the varnashrama? Because
No, not that. Now I'm initiated, I don't have to be a householder anymore. My children can starve, my wife can make it on her own. No, not that I'm initiated, now I don't have any duties. But I have to perform those duties for the service of Krishna, that's all.
and this also includes the Shraddha ceremony for the predecessors, ancestors?
different ceremonies, shraddh and so on. Generally, those are duties, so they're accepted. Not that I just give up all those things. Sannyasi can give up all those things. He has no relationship anymore to this body. He's dead. Civil suicide. But the grihastha, he can do those things. Of course, even in our shraddh ceremonies and so on, we're not interested in so many rituals and so many things that no one understands anyway. Our main thing is Krishna Kirtan. That would be the most beneficial. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So many questions, but
Lots of questions, yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Well, my question is, in the state of Krishna conscious means transcending the three modes of material nature. So, in this Kali Yuga, how is it possible that a Brahmana can act like a Kshatriya? What circumstances can lead?
Just like a devotee, he may be a scholar, he may be whatever, but if it's necessary, he can pick up a rifle and shoot. You know, I'll give you an example. Our temple it's happened more than once. It happened in New York, it happened in San Diego. Our temple was attacked by ruffians. So then our Brahminically initiated devotees were ready to fight for the service of Krishna. They were practicing non-violence and studying Vedic literature and so on. But if you guys are going to attack Krishna, then we're ready to fight with you. Okay.
so in the service of Krishna, we can always
Can do anything.
one answer for one question.
Just like selling books, that appears to be the business of a Vaishya. But because it's Krishna's books, it's the business of a transcendentalist. Looking after the accounts, that appears to be the business of a Vaishya. But when it's temple accounts, it's transcendental. Yes.
Maharaj, you once said in class there's a danger of not making the transition from Grihastha ashram to Vanaprastha ashram. You gave the example, it's like you're almost out of jail and you're punching the warden. This was your example, I love this.
Well, yeah, that's specifically someone, he's like, after 25 years of family life, then his wife dies or leaves him or something, then he gets married again. So it's like being in jail, you're sentenced to a long jail term, and just when they're going to release you, you punch the warden. Then you're back another 20 years.
So my question is, for me it seems Vanaprastha is like somehow an empty space. Like an empty space.
It's not an empty space at all. But why does it seem like an empty space?
For me, it seems like an empty space. So for me, it seems Brahmacharya is clear.
Undefined.
Undefined. Yeah.
I'm writing a book called The Vanaprastha Adventure, which should fill that empty space, I hope. Meanwhile, there's a set of videos on a beloved YouTube. What are they called? Anyway, if you look, I think I have an official, I never looked, but I think I have an official channel. And if you look there, you should find my seminar. It's like quite 7 days or something on Vanaprastha ashram. Yes.
Diksha Maharaji. So, as a household, when we serve our children or wife or husband, how can we transform our mentality that when we're serving children or wife, husband, that we are serving Krishna in the form of children? So how we can really
Yes,
up to that point?
not that the children are Krishna, the wife is children. The wife is Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says essentially. Must be having a big kirtan party. Srimad Thakur essentially says that the people in the house are your servants. I've forgotten the Bengali if anyone remembers. The people in the house are your servants. So the house is your house. So I'll see to all these things as your servant. Not that I have to see to all them. My wife is Krishna. Oh, Krishna is my wife. My children are Krishna. Forget it. Krishna is Krishna. But the wife, the children, they're all servants of Krishna. And they've been placed under my care. Just like the teacher. He thinks that these students are my responsibility. He doesn't think this is my child. He knows it's not my child. But it's my responsibility. The parents have placed the child under my care. I have to do this in this sense. So Krishna has placed this wife, these children under my care. I have to see to their welfare. Welfare finally means spiritual welfare. Unless we can deliver those under our care from the clutches of birth and death, we shouldn't become husbands or parents, or demigods, gurus.
So that is also a devotion service that we try to bring them. So when we try to bring our children into the devotion service, so that is also...
That's the real service. Prabhupada says in one purport, the service is counted when the children become Krishna conscious. Otherwise, just that we bring up nice little karmi children, and we see that they got a good education, they got settled, blah, 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 blah. It's all right, but without Krishna consciousness, it's more or less a waste of time. Yes.
Thank you for the class, Maharaj. How do we find our purpose?
How do you find your purpose?
In regards to also the system.
In regard to?
Also the Varnashrama system.
We should be guided from Shastra and from the spiritual master, from the experienced devotees. They'll guide us. Otherwise, we may speculate this way, that way, but we're less experienced, we may not know. So we take direction. Spiritual master or the spiritual master's representatives say, you do this, you do this, you do this.
Because there's so many services also you could...
That's all right. Then from another point of view, any service that you do for Krishna will be good. Whether you're taking care of the accounts or you're going on book distribution or you're in the kitchen, devotees ready to do whatever service. Not that, oh, this service doesn't fit my psychophysical nature. No. Any service for Krishna, that will be good. That will be good. But then, especially those who are the brahmacharis, those who are engaged in the temple affairs, and those who are living outside, who have family duties and so on, then the spiritual master can be consulted for guidance.
So I have a follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
Many are living outside, like me now, without Grihastha ashram, but also not the temple.
Our friend Hari Parshad Prabhu calls that anashram. And not disparagingly, but for some reason or another, someone just may not fit in this ashram or that ashram. And by circumstance, one of my disciples, he's the president of our temple in New Jersey. He's not married, he has no intention of getting married, but he's supporting his elderly parents who are devotees, who are now his mother's passed on. So that's the business of the grihastha, he's working. But he's not a grihastha, no wife is in the picture. Not exactly a brahmachari because he's working 9 to 5. So anashram, but Krishna conscious. So our main business is how do I become Krishna conscious? I may be this ashram, that ashram, anashram, no ashram. But let me be fully engaged in the service of Krishna. Is that okay?
speaking about the qualities of different
Qualities of.
we are speaking about the qualities of different people. So, since you are in very close association with Srila Prabhupada, I would like to understand what are the attributes that you have seen in him, especially in overcoming adversity or challenges.
Attributes in Prabhupada,
Yeah.
especially
in overcoming the challenges of life or adversities in the life.
Well, that's not a question for the last 2 minutes of the class.
We have half an hour.
Oh, you have another half hour?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you,
Hmm?
if it's okay, I mean.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Well, that's sort of, what did I see? Well, there's so many, the whole Prabhupada Lamrita, if you read it, the whole history is adversity and Prabhupada overcoming adversity. One example that I saw, just a simple, because you asked me from my personal experience, Prabhupada was scheduled to give a series of lectures in Bombay. This was 1977. Maybe around March, April. And his health had declined to the point where even to sit upright was difficult. All that energy could be engaged. Is that politics or something else? We don't even know.
I'm not even trying to focus.
Good.
Too much.
1st of May. We're enjoying.
Oh yeah, leave it.
But they don't know how to enjoy.
Free day to be.
This is a question also. When we say Labor's Day, it's more of Shudra's Day, or when we talk.
They have no higher understanding. So Prabhupada was scheduled to give this lecture, and his health was so bad that the two devotees had to carry him onto the stage, and they just placed him on the asana. And Prabhupada was sort of slumped over. There was no energy. But he said that I've come to encourage you and to be encouraged by you. So he just asked one disciple to read from Bhagavad. The topic, I think, was Swabit Parahostrakarai. Dogs, hogs, camels, and asses are praised by men who have no interest in the glories of Krishna. So the devotee was reading, Prabhupada was just sitting. And after a little while, Prabhupada said a word or two and go on. So he went on reading. Prabhupada said, a few more words. Go on reading. Prabhupada said a little more. But Prabhupada built up a momentum, and by the end, he was roaring. He gave such a powerful talk. And then he called for questions. And then he smashed all the nonsense ideas people came up with. So much adversity. And then an ordinary person would just, check into the hospital and wait for the end, take medication. And Prabhupada is out in the field. is, of course, from how to find your Varna. From one point of view, in Kali Yuga, everyone's a Shudra and everything's messed up. The whole thing is a mess. But we should see our qualities and our natural tendency for work in a certain way, or be guided by those who have clearer understanding. Just like this devotee businessman with this brahminical background. Everyone advised him, actually, you should get out of business. His father was a pujari in the South Indian temple. His grandfather, that's what he was, in his natural training background, what he was suited for. So when he tried to do business, it failed. So we should be, we can take guidance from those who have clearer understanding, just like the teacher. They have what they call guidance counselors in America. That's what they called them in my day. It means that the counselor would see the young children and guide them. You're for the university. You're for technical school. You get a job. You should get into music, and you should get into theater, and you should get into scholarship. The child sort of doesn't know what to do, but the experienced counselor sees this child is good for this child is good for this child is good for that, and talks to the child also. The child says, I'm enthusiastic for this. That's also an indication the counselor can see. Okay? Marsh, do you want to add something to this point at any point?
Regarding his question, that, yeah, you were right, that we should be, get good advice from more realized, experienced persons. And at the same time, we should continue in spiritual life.
At the same time, continue
Spiritual life.
Spiritual life, yes.
And Krishna will help them. Get in contact with somebody who helps them. Gives them advice. And you should stop practicing sadhana.
That's the main thing. It's not that my life is perfect because now I know I'm a Kshatriya or I'm a Vaishya, so I'm just going to get full. The main thing is I'm a servant of Krishna. The whole purpose of the Varnashram system is to bring us to Krishna consciousness. Not that we put Krishna consciousness aside so that we can be perfect Vaishyas or perfect. Be rightly situated is a problem. Even if I'm wrongly situated, they put the wrong peg in the wrong hole. Still, if I'm Krishna conscious, my life will be successful. And if I'm not Krishna conscious, it's a failure. So that's the main thing. That's my real occupation. Therefore, Krishna says, Sarva-dharma, you can give up every other occupation. But this is the essential occupation, the eternal occupation of a human being, to be the servant of Krishna. Thank you. Yes.
Maharaj, my question to this is, sometimes you see that we are not yet matured devotees, and of course Bhagavad Vidhi is higher than the Varnashram Vidhi, but we tend to neglect or saying, okay, I am trying to become a devotee, though I am not have become a good devotee, I am not also doing the proper Varnashram system, and Krishna is saying to really do the prescribed duties. So if I don't do the prescribed duty, I don't purify myself. And when I don't purify myself, I cannot become a good devotee. So it's like artificially.
Both things I need. I need spiritual activities and I need some suitable work. Spiritual activities, chant 16 rounds a day. The initiated devotees chant Hare Krishna. The japa mala is there, chant according to your strength, but for the initiated devotees, at least 16 rounds. And follow 4 regulative principles: no gambling, no intoxicants, no meat eating, no illicit sex. associate with devotees, see the form of Krishna and offer respect, worship of Krishna. All of these things, these are spiritual activities. So we all need to be engaged in spiritual activities above all. Above all. And then where there's actually varnashram properly instituted, that's what everyone does. In Jaipur, the king, he made a temple for Govindaji in his backyard. His backyard was a little big, but that's what he did. He was a king, he had money. He made a temple for Govindaji, he established the worship, all of that's going on. Then, so he's a king, that's what he does. And then there are Brahmins, they do the puja. Then there's someone, they're Kshatriyas, they control the crowd. Then there's someone else, there's your Vaishyas, they handle the money side of things. That should all be for the service of Govindaji. So everything should be done for Krishna. So my spiritual activities are the most, we tend to put our material activities first, my job, my family, my this, that. And someplace off in the corner I have some spiritual, I do something. But the most important thing is to get free from birth and death. Therefore our spiritual activities should be in the forefront. But that doesn't mean that we neglect our duties. I still have some occupation, I still have some duties as generally grahastha, family man, so I do all those things. But it's not disconnected from Krishna. The main point of it all is that it's done for Krishna. Otherwise it's useless. I do everything very nicely, but the point doesn't happen. I missed the point. I don't know where I drive the car very nicely, but I have no idea where I'm going. What's the use? There's a destination that we're meant to reach. If we don't reach the destination, and even if you go, a little haphazardly, you don't quite follow the map or the right way to do it. But if you get there, then you drove well. As far as possible, we follow all the traffic rules, we follow Google Maps, we do all of this, and then we get to the destination. That's what we should do. But if you don't get to the destination, everything's ruined. And even if you did something, you went through a red light, whatever you did, but you got to the destination, all right, at least you got there. Yes.
Maharaj, on this same point, Maharaj, so we go on Sankirtan. Many times we end up distributing 0 books, and also someone doesn't come to temple, for example. So does this effort counts or?
Oh yes. Sidya Sidyo Nirvikara. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna Labha Labho Jayadvaita. Don't consider success or failure. Many times Krishna says, don't consider success or failure. Prabhupada said the effort is the success. In material life, the success is the success. But in spiritual life, the effort alone makes it successful. You tried to do something for Krishna. The result is up to Krishna. You did your part. You tried to serve. I gave the example the other night, we were talking about Jatayu. He tried to stop Ravan from abducting Sita. He was a great bird, so he flew into the sky and tried to stop Ravana's abducting Sita by his airplane. But he was old, and Ravana cut off his wings, he fell to the ground. But he failed. Ravana took Sita and went. But Lord Ramchandra, upon finding Jatayu, was so indebted, he personally performed the funeral ceremony with so much love and gratitude. Didn't consider, no, we failed. No. The
past you were mentioning about when we talk about Kshatriyas, can a Kshatriya can be still a devotee eating meat?
Can a Kshatriya still be a devotee eating meat?
Because in Kshatriya Dharma they say okay to
Kshatriya Dharma, they do these things. Anyone can be a devotee. The prostitutes can be devotees. Anyone can be a devotee. Ahituki. Apatiyata. Apatiyata means under any circumstances anyone can be a devotee. But we don't recommend that no, I'm a Kshatriya. You can also follow these rules.
So we don't recommend that he should stop eating meat?
We do.
We do.
Yeah. Anyway, what kind of Kshatriyas are there? But you fight against a tiger hand to hand. And if you like, you can eat the meat. Not that I'm a Kshatriya, so I go to the supermarket and I buy a little packet wrapped in plastic. This is the meat, I'm a Kshatriya. That's you're a Shudra. Yudhishthira, Friction so what kind of Kshatriya nonsense are you? You're just a Shudra pretending to be a Kshatriya. In Jaipur Museum, you can see these tiger knives.
Yeah.
The king would fight with the tiger. Personally, hand to hand combat. The tiger has hands like that, claws and teeth. Tiger's a serious business. And the kings would take him on. Yes.
Two questions. One is connecting to this, what Prabhuji asked. So is it really that in past Kshatriyas used to eat meat, like Arjuna and all, they used to eat meat to fight?
Not that all the Pandavas, but Kshatriyas used to eat meat sometimes. They were allowed.
But vegetarians, I mean, is it a message that only non-vegetarians can be powerful?
No, but they were used to. They were given some scope, all right? You want to eat meat, you can do that. You can kill some animals in the forest, stay in practice for fighting. If you like, you can eat also. But they don't have to.
To develop passion?
There's other ways of developing passion.
I guess eating meat makes you tamas, right? It doesn't make you...
Makes you sinful, that's the real thing. But the Kshatriyas were allowed. Everything is allowed, according to regulation. Even liquor is allowed. There's some sacrifice, you have to perform that sacrifice, then you can drink the liquor. You want to eat meat, you worship Kali, and you whisper into the goat's ear, now I'm killing you, you can kill me. So according to that, the point is, it's allowed, but it's restricted. And the intelligent person will think, what kind of fool am I that I'm promising this goat, you can come back and kill me. But if you want to do it, you can do it. Just like the government, you can smoke if you want, but the cost of a cigarette is, I don't know what, 10 cents, and the cost of the taxes will be 80 cents. Because the government wants to discourage you. But they know if we just prohibit it, people will make their own arrangements. So we'll allow it, but we'll discourage it.
Sorry.
Yes.
The second question I had. Sorry to repeat the same another point which Prabhuji was discussing. Maybe because I'm stupid, I still confused about it. You mentioned in a line that for Krishna service we can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like getting devotees taking gun or whatsoever. So what comes in this bracket of anything? Because
anything.
because, because I can also
Gopis gave up everything. They had their homes, they had their husbands, they had their prestige. They gave up everything to serve Krishna.
But this is exactly my question, that like this, taking this message, people can then leave their families.
Then you become a gopi first. You become qualified, then you can do anything. The principle is that for Krishna we can do anything. But not that now I'll do it, but now I've got a green light for anything I want to do, and I'll just sort of paste Krishna's name on it. Not that kind of nonsense. But for Krishna's service, you can, just like in wartime, if you have to protect your country, what can you do? You can do anything. You can do anything. You can lie, you can steal, you can, whatever you have to do. You can kill. But not that, since I could do anything for my government, now I'll do anything I want. And say, yeah, I did that for the government. No. We should follow the directions. But we should know the principle. And the advanced devotees can do anything. Not that the neophyte can just do anything, then he'll make a mess of his life. But if we see that an advanced devotee is doing, and just like the gopis, their behavior is totally immoral, according to social convention. But they're situated in transcendental, spontaneous love for Krishna. So their so-called immorality becomes the highest standard of purity. But if an ordinary person thinks, well, gopis they have a boyfriend, so I'm a nice girl, I'd also like to have a boyfriend. More than many things, Krishna is dancing with so many girls, I'll also dance with so many girls. Then he becomes degraded. She becomes degraded. Not that we can imitate. Shouldn't imitate Krishna or the great devotees who are engaged in Krishna's service. We have to follow. Okay. Something else. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. For a household, how important or how soon should a household think of going to for the Vanaprastha ashram?
How soon should the householder think of the Vanaprastha ashram? My recommendation is from his marriage day, he should start thinking about it.
Thinking should start already. Then question is doing?
Or before. Of course, it's not that during the ceremony his mind will be in the forest, but you have to plan. In any enterprise, any business, any undertaking, that, all right, here's where I am now. Where am I going to be 25 years from now? In business, they think like that, right? They don't think where are we going to be tomorrow. They think, okay, where's the business going to be? Going forward 5 years, projecting 10 years, where are we going to be? And then, okay, because that's where we're going to be, we have to make this arrangement. In infrastructure, we're going to need this much infrastructure because we're planning on this level of manufacturing, so they have to meet at the right time. Otherwise, you've got all the orders coming in and you can't fulfill them. Or you've got all capability to fulfill, but the marketing never got started, so you have no orders. So you plan, okay, this time, here's where we have to be. So as a householder, I should know that Panchashordham Dhanam Brije. By the age of 50, I should give up householder life and enter the third stage, the Vanaprastha ashram. If I start thinking about that when I'm 49, I'm late to the party. I should think about that early, because then how I live in my grahastha ashram will be guided by knowing that here's how long it lasts and here's my next program.
Then Maharaj, for ladies or women, what about vanaprastha if the family life is not happy? The men can
Anyone, if their family life is not happy, then vanaprastha ashram is something to look forward to. Especially as we get older, family life isn't all that happy. The exciting young wife becomes boring and old. The valiant husband becomes dumpy. Sex becomes nothing all that great. And there's so many burdens. The work that, as young men, we're going to have a career and we're going to build it up, and we have a network and we have ideas and we have all sorts of possibilities and challenges and da-da-da-da-da. And later it's like, I don't know, how long do I have to do this? It's not exciting anymore, it's just bad. That's the natural, that's the way biology works. Right? The Vedic knowledge is in tune with biology. By the age of 50, we don't feel like working. By the age of 60, we definitely don't feel like working. But people are encouraged, no, you should work, you should work, you should work. No. Get out. Because time is running out. And if I want, I have no time to chant, I'm busy with, just like our Swami Jyoti Prabhu, he's a married man. Now his son's a little grown up, just begun his career. So he's traveling with me. He's not staying at home, reading the newspaper, watching Star TV. He's getting out. Some days he's in this temple doing service, sometimes he's in that place doing preaching. Now he's older and this is his business, not, building up his family life. And his wife's doing the same thing. She's serving in 2 temples, dividing her time between serving this deity, serving that deity. So that's happy life. Not just, trying to extend, overstaying your visa. It's something to look forward to, actually. Maharaj, when I don't get any time to chant, I don't get any time to become a vanaprastha, then you can chant, you can read, you can and it's very important. Prabhupada himself accepted the vanaprastha ashram. In all his books he writes about it. Panchashordam Banamrajay. Don't stay in householder life till the end. Dhritarashtra got out even by the mercy of Vidura. Should have a plan. By so many times, so many years, then vanaprastha, and then in any case, back to Bhagavad. Life is not meant for permanent material attachment. It's meant for freedom. Vanaprastha life means more freedom, something to look forward to.
Maharaj, I'm just curious, is there any minimum, how many times married devotees needs to be on the street on Harinam and book distribution?
Is there any minimum how many times married devotees need to be on the street for book distribution? Well, let's see, in the Padma Purana it said, no. There's no shastric injunction. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. No. One should be fully engaged. As far as possible. It's not like, I have to. This is what we do for fun. This is enjoyment. We work, we do so many things, but when you get the opportunity to go out, chant Hare Krishna, distribute books, meet people, this is happiness. Not if there's some rule about how many times you have to do it, this is fun. This is what we look forward to. In our ISKCON Press, the forerunner of BBT, we were located in Boston at the time. No, actually both ways. We were sometimes New York, sometimes Boston. And we had the most important work, Prabhupada said, producing his books. We were geared up, that's what we did. Day and night we were busy. The Prabhupada said every day we should go out on kirtan for 1 hour. And so we did. We'd jump in the van. We were in Boston. We'd jump in the van, go to the Boston Common, the main place, chant Hare Krishna for an hour, jump back in the van, and start our work again. And our experience was that so many problems we would have had evaporated because we were chanting Hare Krishna. Everyone was chanting Hare Krishna, feeling happy. We doubled our work. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Time is up. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Thank you so much.
His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj ki
Jai.
His Holiness Bhakti Bhushan Maharaj ki
Jai. We do have some more books who weren't able to pick up.
If someone would like to have this wonderful opportunity to have this wonderful book, this is written by His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj, and it's an award-winning book. It's very, very invaluable, priceless. But of course, you can give some donation, 15 euros or more. And how many copies can we offer?
Whatever you see here, I think we even have some more copies. Do we have more copies? Yeah, we have a couple more copies.
Yeah, we have copies. Come forward, and if Maharaj, you're here, can you also leave an autograph or a note?
Yeah, I can see. No notes.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'll sign it.
I would like to have one.